and I am here with my darling, incredible priestess sister, who I just love and adore, and I'm going to formally introduce her in just a moment. But I really just wanted to have a conversation about capacity. Go ahead and type capacity into the comment section. Put the word capacity. If you do not see yourself correctly, how can you accurately measure your capacity? And so this is important because your concept about your capacity impacts your level of exhaustion. It impacts how much energy you think you can harness to get things done. And so it is important to me and to my sister that you see yourself correctly. And you know, I wouldn't call this to your attention without resources and tools to support you in doing so. And so let me formally introduce her to you. Lashannon Armistead is a holistic practitioner who guides souls to fulfillment. Lashannon is passionate and devoted. Her life's purpose is to empower individuals to awaken to their true selves and unlock their full potential. She is a seeker and a mystic. She has held a lifelong affinity for all things spiritual and metaphysical. Her profound connection to the divine is fortified by the wisdom and guidance of her elevated ancestors, along with a tapestry of deeply impactful life experiences that have set her on a transformative journey to discover ancient, time tested wellness therapies and profound healing arts. Through her own personal healing and transformative growth, it has become abundantly clear that every lesson and insight Lashannon has learned and gathered was a gift intended primarily for her own divine assignment. So she is positioned to guide and generously assist individuals on their path to becoming the very center of their own universe. She wears many hats. She has a unique and vital role on the planet. She is a mother, a daughter, a sister, a wife. She is also a priestess, oracle, counselor, and spiritual hygienist and sacred witness, guiding souls through their life journeys. She's a coach, a healer, an educator, a student, a novice, an adept, and a master, symbolizing her ever evolving commitment to learning and growing. In her credentials, because the girl is vetted, she has extensive education and training. She's an energy healer and Reiki master practitioner and teacher, a spiritual hygienist certified through Eternal Light Institute, a certified Global Sisterhood Sacred Facilitator, a certified Born to Transform Institute life coach, a certified breathologist under Seku Ayo Handi Kindi of Positive Energy Works. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And an ordained priestess of the Order of Melchizedek, and a certified womb sauna practitioner, baby. Her work revolves around supporting her clients as they traverse through their own space of transformation and helping them transition from who they once were to who they desire to become. She is a woman with much needed respite. Within this space, she offers mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual nourishment, employing an array of the modalities that we just mentioned in the healing her arts. So, with unwavering devotion and boundless love, Lashannon stands as a guiding light, leading individuals towards self-discovery, empowerment, and spiritual growth. Her journey is a testament of the profound impact of holistic healing and the enduring beauty of the human spirit's transformation. Okay, so listen. I think this is significant. Because for one, I am committed to reading my sister's bios. I feel like we don't always know how to live in the principle of your applause being the loudest. And a woman who doesn't know how to applaud herself gets obsessed with the sound of the applause from others. As womb sauna practitioners in this movement going throughout the world, we are in 17 different countries telling women to heal everything. That alone is, sis, you can and you will. Put that in the comment section. I can and I will. So here I am with Lashannon, ready to have her, come off of mute and interact. Go ahead and say something to the women and let them know why it's important to invest in themselves. You just reading your bio, like literally, you have all these credentials. I know it took time. I know the cost of your oil. How did you decide that you even had the capacity to even do all of these things?
Honestly, the capacity was something that naturally grew with the desire to want to be my fullest and my best self. It really came out of a necessity to heal. It was spirit guiding me and calling me ever closer to, to this next space that I needed to go in. I have a very powerful story about in the process of almost being out of this earth, suicide. And when I woke up, I said to myself, I didn't die, so I got to do something else. And so that kind of sparked the process. And that was like an opening. That was like a way in for me to be able to hear spirit in a different way and know that there was something else for me. And from that, I just continued to take steps and continue to open myself. And it took a lot. It wasn't easy at all. It took a lot of yeses. And it took some of those yeses where I had to dig real deep just to even utter the word. There was a lot of reluctancy, but there was also a deep desire for more and a deeper connection that I didn't experience in other walks of life and in Christianity and other paths that I followed. So yeah, I had to do something else. And so, expanding my capacity was the outgrowing of all of the steps that I took.
Oh, I love that. I love that for a couple of different reasons, because I really feel like it is significant to be able to not just recognize you're alive, but live full out. And I feel like Earth is the classroom, right? So it's like, if I ever get to a point in my journey where literally I'm just satisfied with myself, I think that's when it's your time to exit. Like when you feel like you done mastered every lesson, you done learned all you need to learn, you've emptied out. I share your testimony. I too have the testimony of knowing what it's like and wanting to exit. I choose every single day to live. And there are people who don't have that experience, who aren't even alive and living full out. They are just coasting or cruise controlling through life. And then when adversity comes, they feel defeated and overwhelmed because literally they feel like it's taking, too long to get the reward that you may or may not have necessarily earned. Put an exclamation mark in the comment section if you can relate to what I'm saying. I've shared publicly that I recently redefined my definition of adversity as adversity is an opportunity for me to practice my power. But if you're going to practice your power, it is going to require an expansion in your energy field. How do you become the size container for the blessings you want? How do we stop going to the ocean only asking for thimble-sized blessings. How do we get a boat? How do we get a bucket? What needs to change in a woman's mindset, Lashannon, for her to be able to grow her capacity and get more done?
Number one, I think you have to see that just the simple fact that you breathe every day, you're supposed to be here. And if you're supposed to be here, then you want to grow more. You want to have more. The idea that, everything that I have belongs to somebody else. I have to take care of my children, I have to take care of my family, I have to take care of, husband, work, all these other things. And then I put me at the end of the day. That's a whole mindset shift that really has to change. You really have to become or learn or start the process to put yourself first and become the center of your own universe, because in that space, everybody's fed. Everybody can be fed from what you give and what you offer freely. It's not like a tug of war. You're not depleted at the end of the day. It's like you can give from a space of knowing that there's abundance and there's so much more overflowing from me when you are in the center of it. But that means that you have to make that choice for yourself first. You can't get it from your children. You can't get it from your family. You can't get it from the job. You can't get it from anything outside of you. It has to begin with them.
So what happens in terms of like practical application? Because, and you've heard me teach on the difference between rest and relief, right? So you got people, we're in a generation, especially of Black women, who, we're like, I need a nap. I need to be on the beach. I need a vacation. I'm for all those things, right? But when I drill down a little bit deeper, Lashannon, and I'm asking women, what's got you so exhausted? It's not that they're exhausted from actually getting the things done that keep them aligned with their divine purpose and gifts. They're mostly exhausted because they're living a lifestyle that has outsourced all of their creativity to somebody else's dream and needs.
Yeah.
And they think they've earned this reward of this luxurious plush life that most of them are financing because they actually haven't tapped the well on their financial abundance. So they're going into debt to try to reward themselves for a rest, for work that they haven't even truly done that is alignment centered. It's just achievement. It's just achievement. I know that was kind of heavy, right? Y'all put an exclamation mark if y'all listen. I was like, But you see what I'm saying? It's like, earn your leisure. Alignment over achievement. Put that in the comment sections. Alignment over achievement. Like, what makes you think that you're even ready for the millionaire life if you're struggling with the $60,000 a year life? We cannot heal without the truth. That's one of the things that came up in my interview with one of your sister practitioners out there. We talked about that. There is no healing without the truth. If we're not honest, then what are we applying the healing energy to? The illusion? Why do you think women feel entitled to a rest that they haven't earned? And are they really seeking rest, or do they need relief?
I think the entitlement comes from being caught up in the illusion and in the game that we never really even had the rules to in the first place. So we're playing by the idea, that the things that we've been taught, what's been laid out, but we never went to investigate. However, we've seen in our life, we've seen our grandmothers, we've seen other women, we've seen our moms, our aunties, we see them live this lifestyle. And in our minds, it's like, okay, if I do this, if I give out, if I make sure somebody else is set up, all these things, it's going to trickle back down to me someplace, some kind of way. And that is just a complete, honestly, it's a disillusionment. You know what I mean? Like, you're delusional in the idea of thinking that giving to get is going to provide you deep fulfillment.
Oh, girl, if I could throw a shoe at you right now. Oh, true. That's the template.
Yeah.
That martyrdom stuff, that whole hang me on the cross, and one day somebody, I guess, will take me off of it. No.
Yeah.
Don't choose
If
the
I
cross.
achieve enough, if I do just enough, then yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't choose the cross. How about that? Put that in the
I know that's
comment
right.
section. Don't choose the cross. You can skip all of that. Especially if you're a Christian, according to Jesus, it was finished. He did it. So why do you need to? Right? So it makes no sense. That's so good because I do think that women are having and experiencing a learning curve, and it's a value system issue. I just want everybody to hear these words and tell me where it goes in your body. Put it in the comment section. I am valuable regardless of what I do for other people. I am valuable regardless of what I do for everybody else. Before I was a mother, I was just a person. Before I was a wife, I was just a person. Before I became this mogul and this healer and a certified womb sauna practice, I was just a human being, and I came to earth bathed and wrapped up in divine love. I don't have to perform for the rewards of life. I just need to understand what kind of life I want to live and choose to live it, and do the work to configure my thoughts and my choices and my behaviors in a way that delivers the gold unto myself. I am the gold mine. I'm mining my consciousness. I'm mining my body's reactions to the way I think, be, and have my being. I'm mining the results in my life. If I keep doing the same thing over and over again, taking care of everybody else, showing up for the same job, boo, 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 whatever it is, and it's not producing what I want, then obviously I need to change.
I
Need to
say.
change.
I say.
So I think that we're loading them up with a lot of positive energy in this interview, because that's what you bring. And this is what happens when the priestesses sit and have these conversations for the world to witness and say, hey, we're knocking on the door of your mind right
Mm-hmm.
here. And we're saying, what are you looking at? Every time
Yeah.
you say, I can't, or the way Reverend Ike puts it, I love this. He says, you need to understand that when I say I am, whatever follows that is not optional, it's law. Get mad at nature if you got a problem with that. So when you say things like, I am not able to, I am not this, I'm not that, you are cursing yourself. Reverend Ike says, who needs a devil when you hold the self-concept of yourself that you do? You don't need no enemies. You will ruin every opportunity laid at your feet. You will ruin it because you don't believe you can, and I'm not saying that we don't have real limitations. So Lashannon, give your perspective on this. How does one recognize when their capacity is limited? Is it even valuable to do so?
Yeah, you have to. You have to recognize it, if it is available to you. And number one, you have to recognize if you even really desire it. Is it a true desire at all?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just another thing that's been set on your plate and you're like, oh, I got to go do this? So I think it's the way that we approach the processes that we move into and the things that we do. Are we doing it because somebody said we need to do it? Or are we doing it because it's a general outburst, like, a growing from within us that's calling us forward to that? And so that'll help you gauge where your capacity is, because if it feels too difficult, is it even in alignment? Is that even the direction you're supposed to be going in? So you have to check in with yourself first and foremost, just to make sure this is yours.
Yeah, I do think that's valid. And I love that you bring that perspective that, like, if I'm having so much resistance, then is this really for me? Because maybe it's not. There is a difference between moving in power and moving in force. Put that in the comment sections. There is a difference between moving in power versus moving in force. But I do think in the women empowerment space, women have gotten a little spiritually lazy. I do. And you can tell me if you agree or disagree. Let's have this conversation in this interview. Because I just feel like Especially for those who grew up with certain religious programming, that they really think all they got to do was pray or do a ritual and then it's supposed to just come. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no. Faith without works is dead. Work, boo. Faith without works is dead. I'm gonna need you to decide. So like even when with my personal trainer, you know, I get to the last rep and he's like, one more. And I'm like, do you love me at all? This is uncomfortable. This is stretching me. This is outside of my comfort zone. Why do women get so intimidated about being stretched outside of their comfort zone when the very things you're asking God for are outside of your comfort zone? What's your perspective on that?
I think it's tied to the identity, you know, so that it's who you know yourself to be over here. And you, though you say you want those things over there, you have to become a completely different person. You have to identify yourself completely different in order to even touch those things. And so sometimes we want to have both, but we don't know how to get there. So we want to stay over here and we want to know ourselves as this person, but it's like, oh, can I really do it? And it's when you begin to allow yourself to be dynamic and to see that it's okay to let her go. So there's, you know, it's the idea some people say about like killing the ego. I'm not in alignment with killing the ego at all. All of it's or even the shadow. Like it's all necessary, correct?
Yeah,
you
and
know?
I just prefer to integrate, properly place all these different
Yes.
expressions in myself.
Own all of it. So if we can own all aspects of ourselves, then those things that we're desiring are easier to shift into because we're not making this part of us wrong, or we're not making this part of us, you know, unable to achieve anything. She served her purpose. She's done what she needed to do. And if you need her later, you can always go back to retrieve her. However, what you are desiring is on this side. So let's shift here. Let's move into this new space. Even when it comes to my own journey and process, like, to even announce priestess in front of my name was a whole thing for me. Like, you know, went through the ordination and all of that. And people would, you know, I would be in our meetings and they would call me by name, priestess. And I'm like, oh, they talking to me. Like it took a second. It took a second to shift into a whole new identity, to be able to own that's who I've always been. They just gave me a title now. You know, so it's definitely a mindset process. And then you also have to be very gentle with yourself when it comes to your body, because your nervous system will have a whole fit if you try to jam her over there quick, fast, in a hurry, you know. So you'll build it, but then it'll collapse because you really didn't believe you could have it anyway. You know, so I really think it's a whole piece around identity.
It's a delicate line. Yeah. I agree with you. I do think that we have to study ourselves and really practice stretching ourselves and then letting that settle and anchor, and then stretching ourselves some more. Even though I myself am aware that I only have, like, for example, if I was to acknowledge a limitation, it would be that there's 24 hours in a day. That's out of my control. Like, my limitations aren't around my self-identity. My limitations are around like natural laws. Like, I could say I wanted to be summer all day. It's fall. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get summer weather in the middle of fall unless you really do some big juju taming. But do you really have time for that kind of initiation where you controlling the weather and all of that and the weather balloons? Listen, realistic, right? But you are never going to hear me tell the world, tell my sisters, or tell myself that I can't do something that's going to serve my destiny. Even if, like, I had a lover and he was very fit. He could carry me around the house, 6 packs, just athlete, right? And I'm talking trash because I like to do that sometimes. So I'm watching him do all these reps of push-ups and, you know, pulling. And I'm like, yo, I could take you down. And he's like, Tamer. Like, boo, that's so cute. That's so cute. And I was like, oh, you don't think I'm strong? You know, like, I do that not because I'm not aware that I haven't been in the gym, right? I do that because out of my mouth comes the instructions for my life and my body. It is whatever I say it is. So I just spiritually am uncomfortable with speaking into my life, even when things are hard, even when things are intense, I have developed an emotional and psychological discipline that keeps me from speaking limitations into my own. I just don't do it. I just don't. I could have a million things on my things to do list. If a door flies open for me, I'm walking through it. I'm walking through it. I'm not going to convince myself that I can't walk through that door.
Mm.
And if I try to walk through it and I don't make it, I can live with. I chose the door and the process to get through it, even if I didn't. But what I could not sleep with is that I saw the door open for me and chose to convince myself that it wasn't time, that I wasn't ready, that I have evolved past that. And so I know there are women listening who are resonating with your interview, resonating with your perspective and your vibration. What can they expect in a womb sauna experience with you if they show up with the intention of growing their capacity?
I think first what we will look at is, as you shared earlier, like being in a space of truth. Where do you
Mhm,
currently see yourself?
mhm,
Allowing them to vocalize what's really true in that very moment. And then let's create something different. So, like, really
mhm,
having them speak into existence and speak into themselves what it is that they do desire to create. You know, I have this so-called limitation. This is where I am right now. However, this is what I would like in my life. This is how I
mhm,
would like to feel. This is the relationship I would like to be in. And really working with them to see, like you just explained, really there's nothing stopping us from having anything that we desire. We literally can have it all. The only thing in the way is us and our mindset about it and what we allow ourselves to have. So I think that's the way we, it would flow in a way to let
mhm,
them just move from, this is the space where I am in, and this is the space I'm working to get toward. And we can birth all of those things right there in that moment. So.
mhm, mhm. Oh, I just love that. So how do they stay in touch with you
Yeah.
and stay connected to all of the beautiful offerings that you have?
Okay. So what I do want to offer is I have designed a mini assessment. And this mini assessment will support individuals in looking at where they are in their spiritual locus. So the idea behind this was just seeing where everybody is in their consciousness, like, just how they move in the world, their perspective of the divine, like everything. So there's 20 questions that you'll answer. And out of your 20 questions, you'll add up your scores and you fall into one of 4 spaces. And each space gives you a little more insight. And then from there, this is a way to have an interaction with me to engage. I'm offering free 20-minute discovery calls where we have opportunity to speak. I can see where I can support you, how I can pour into your life to help you create what it is that you're desiring. I will also be offering my womb sauna experiences within the next few weeks. And I have a
Love it.
Facebook page. You can find me on Facebook. My personal account is Lashannon Armistead. And my Instagram account is The Spaces in Between. And between is spelled BTWN. And my website, you can reach me at bit.ly/your weekend mystic. And it's weekend spelled WKND. And there you'll be able to select services and book. I'll offer oracle card readings, spiritual counseling, coaching sessions, a variety of different things, spiritual hygiene, Reiki. So there's a list of different things to select from. So,
I
yeah.
love your vastness and capacity, girl. You remind me of me. Like I grew up with
Mobile.
people saying, "Oh, you do too much. You are too much." And my mantra for that is, if I am too much for you, go find less. So,
Mhm.
I have shifted into an even deeper depth of radical self-acceptance, and can't nobody keep me from being who I really believe I am. So I love your vastness. I love your capacity. I love that you are able to offer as much of yourself. that you do. I think it's incredible, and I'm so proud of you and how you represent the work that we do as a certified womb sauna practitioner. Listen, y'all, we empower women. We don't tell you you need a tribe and then don't have our own. We don't tell you that you need to heal and we ain't healing ourselves. That's not what we do here. It's a whole vibe in this movement. And if you're listening and it's resonating with you, go to thewombsauna.com/certification and find out about this community, this program, and how you can create a bridge between your passions and innate God-given gifts and your money, because you should be monetized. And you should be paid to be your authentic self, and you should discover your capacity to live in that. I've been doing it for 11 years. I can't believe it's 11 years, but I have been a full-time entrepreneur empowering women worldwide for 11 years. Nothing is impossible. You can live whatever you envision. So, Lashannon, thank you so much, Mogul, for your time, your presence, your energy, your wisdom. I'm going to put the links on how to connect with her below so you can stay in her energy. Those of you, which area are you servicing in, Lashannon?
I am in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia.
All right. So those of you who are in that area or feel like you need to get to Lashannon and get in her area, go pop that squat on her pot. Go do that. It's an incredible life-changing experience. We love you. We're sending good energy your way.